Today, I'm going to share with you the 12 YouTube channels that I pay closest attention to for product updates, best prompting practices, and just how to get the most out of AI technology to level up my game and stay ahead of everyone else. I want to share this with you because I want to be one of these channels for you, but I want to share all of the knowledge and resources that I have with you so we can all level up and stay ahead in the AI game. Hey, I'm Craig Hewitt. Welcome back to 100 Days of AI. Let's dive in with the first channel, which is where I got hooked on AI, and that is Nate Herk. So Nate started all of his AI kind of journey in N8N automation. So N8N is a fantastic AI agent and automation builder, kind of visual workflow builder. And Nate has a ton of very good automation templates and videos. He also runs a school community around this, but this is where a lot of folks got hooked, I think, on AI and automation. And Nate's channel is extremely practical in terms of leveling up your game with AI agents and building AI workflows, especially in N8N. Okay, the next channel that I watch a lot of, and I think my channel most closely mimics, is Tina Huang. So Tina is a Silicon Valley person. She goes and interviews Reid Hoffman and all these people in person. It's pretty cool. She was at OpenAI's Developer Days last week, demoing their new agent builder in person, real time, live, like super brave. I could not do this. She has a ton of really practical guides on how to use AI, how to do kind of everyday personal and business things with AI, which is, I think, the ethos of what I'm trying to do with this channel, especially this 100 Days challenge. Is like, hey, how do we get the most out of these tools and how do we integrate them into our work and our daily lives so that we're not like going crazy and we're staying ahead? So Tina's channel, definitely one to check out for more content really like mine, if you just want a little deeper dive into something or just different take on it maybe. The next one is a new addition to my kind of must-watch playlist, and this is Patrick Ellis. His channel is quite technical, and so you can see here, this is all about Claude Code and designing and developing with Claude Code. He's a CTO of an AI startup, I think. And so his is all extremely technical. So if you're going to be doing vibe coding, if you're going to be using Cursor and Claude Code and doing real software development work, Patrick's is a really good one. And the one thing I want to mention here is like Patrick only has 18,000 subscribers. There's a couple of others on here who don't have a ton of subscribers. We look at like Tina, 1 million subscribers. You look at Nate, I think 400,000. Like these are big channels, but like the gems, I think maybe like my channel, like this channel, are the ones that are small still because like we're still hustling and trying really hard to put out the best content. Generally, I think the smaller channels are where the cutting edge stuff comes in. The bigger channels sometimes get complacent and don't have to put out as good as stuff to win in any kind of content game. And YouTube isn't any different. Not disparaging the big channels. They've obviously done the work to get where they are and they're amazing. And I look up to them a lot, honestly. And speaking of which, Jeff Su is one of those amazing channels. 1.5 million subscribers. Jeff used to work at Google, left about 6 months ago, I think, and has a lot of really practical, not just AI content, but just work and productivity content on his channel. So he caters to like the business professional, whereas I might cater to like the entrepreneur a little bit. And his channel is not all about AI. So he has AI in there for sure, but he has other stuff like, well, everything's AI. Now here we go. 3 resume mistakes you must avoid, right? So his is like, hey, for professionals, how to stay productive and successful at work. Jeff's channel, really good if you're like, hey, I'm that professional person. I want to adopt and adapt AI into my life a little bit, but I know I'm going the corporate route and I want to stay that way. Jeff's channel is probably a pretty good one to check out. Okay, cool. Next one is definitely a development channel and maybe the most hardcore kind of development channel I have. This is my friend, actually, Ellie Steinbach. Ellie runs a startup that's like an AI first startup and has a lot of really technical videos about like MCP and different extensions, different technical like coding practices and things like that. Ellie is like an ambassador for Cursor and goes and speaks on their behalf. So if you're like, hey, I want super deep technical content, Ellie's a pretty good one to check out for software developers. So if you're a software developer and you're like, hey, I want to follow other really smart people who know what the heck they're doing and aren't just like espousing all this theoretical stuff, is a really good one to check out. Okay, next one is Alex Finn. Alex, I know of from Twitter. He's like me, a non-technical founder, and built a SaaS app. So his app is helps you gain more followers on Twitter. And he puts out a lot of videos about like Codex and Claude Code and doing like vibe coding well, and even taking, things like Claude Code past just writing code. He uses it for like daily productivity, habit tracking, and even some marketing stuff. So I look at Alex as like, hey, how can I stretch the capacity of something like Claude Code to its max? And he's really, I think, on the cutting edge of how he's using a pretty narrow subset of AI tools as to the highest extent he can. So if you're like, hey, I want to use Claude Code, I don't want to just develop on it, but I want to use it for kind of everything, because I think it's a super powerful tool, Alex's channel is probably a really good one. Also, if you're like entrepreneurial, vibe coding, want to start vibe coding, Alex's stuff, I think, talks a lot about this. And on Twitter, he talks about a lot of it as well. So he's a good follow there. Cool. Next channel is another friend of mine, Brian Castle. Again, look at this, 16,000, almost 17,000 subscribers. Alex Finn, 42,000. Like, these don't have to be big channels. So just generally, as you're going out and finding folks, like, they don't have to be huge channels. Brian also does software development, talks a lot about Claude Code, talks a lot about good, software practices, building with AI, building AI first startups. So if you're a developer, you want to get more best practices around how to use things like Cursor and Claude Code and other like AI tools for software development and building AI agents, I think it's a really good place to look, because he's also on the cutting edge and like pretty hardcore when it comes to software development. Okay, the next one is almost a bit of a cheat, because it's actually a podcast, but I run a podcasting company, and I can tell you the lines blur between YouTube channel and podcast pretty significantly these days. Marketing Against the Grain is a podcast from HubSpot. So HubSpot, like the big, huge CRM, kind of just second to Salesforce probably. And this podcast and this channel took a huge pivot when AI and ChatGPT really came on the market. It used to be just a marketing podcast. Now it's basically an AI podcast. So like everything about AI agents and AI automation and AI replacing us with work, and how we can use AI at work to kind of better ourselves in our career. This is probably the most authoritative, broad exposure of AI at work and in marketing that I know of. So if you're a marketer and you're like, hey, I want to know and stay on the cutting edge of what's going on with AI and marketing, Marketing Against the Grain is the podcast. I mean, they go into a lot of just AI stuff and news, kind of like I do on my channel. But if you kind of have that that marketer kind of lean to you, I think Marketing Against the Grain is the podcast that will satisfy both the AI and the marketing side of your brain and your soul. Okay. Next one is Greg Eisenberg. And this is also a podcast. So I'm cheating a little bit here, but like I don't listen to either of these just on my podcasting app. I watch them, or I have them in the background when I'm working. So Greg's all about AI these days, like a lot of folks. He's a startup founder, and his channel is a podcast format for the most part, but does have some just kind of videos of him demoing things and screen sharing and things like that. So for like what I would call like startup culture and what's new in technology, I think Greg is a pretty good fit here. Okay, next one is an unconventional pick for me, because I'm not like a Silicon Valley guy or girl. But Silicon Valley Girl, I think, is a really good channel to watch for that other perspective. So I'm not a VC Silicon Valley kind of person. I work in my home office, and I want to work in my home office, but I do want to be stretched by other perspectives. And so that's what this channel gives me, is like, hey, what is the VC side of the world doing here? And how are they thinking about what's going on with AI? I don't always watch all the videos. I don't always agree with all of them, but depending on politics, like which side of the fence you're on, I do think it's helpful to try to view things from the other perspective. And that's kind of what this does for me, is it helps me balance kind of my perspective of AI and technology and business with that other side, which is like Silicon Valley, super venture capital world. So a good one to check out if you need a little dose of that in your life. Okay, so Grace Lung is the next one, 91,000 subscribers, so like slightly bigger channel here than some of those smaller indie ones, but kind of like Tina. Really similar to my channel, probably, right? A lot of marketing, a lot of productivity, a lot of tool reviews, a lot of how do you use this piece of AI technology. Grace does a really good job of breaking down a lot of these tools and concepts and best practices into things that are easy for anyone to understand and in a way they can go take and implement them. So all of Grace's are a combination of kind of talking head like this and sharing a tool so you can see like how to use this thing, how to use Perplexity, how to use N8N, Claude, and Notion, like all these kinds of things. So if you want another channel kind of like mine, hers is a pretty good one to check out. Okay, and last one is just straight up news to me. Like if I want to know what the latest with AI technology is, Skill Leap AI pretty much is guaranteed to cover it in the first couple of days that it comes out. They get some of the stuff before it even hits like public availability. This is like what I would consider like an AI news and product release channel. They do a lot of tutorials as well, but like I think this is where the newest like walkthroughs and evaluations of a new tool usually are. Again, I have some of that in my channel. Some of my channel is definitely timely. Like I did the review on ChatGPT Agent Builder the day it came out because I want to be the news guy to some extent too. I have some stuff like how to set up Claude projects that are evergreen and you can just use them forever. But I think there's some channels that are a little more specific and they maybe do a better job in some of these ways. And so I look at Skill Leap AI, again, 300,000. So not a huge channel, but I look at these guys as like, hey, what's the absolute latest with a tool? And I want to see it. And maybe like, as I get ideas for my channel, like I'll go here and see them do a review of something and say, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do my own version of that. That's kind of how I use this channel. So those are the 12 AI YouTube channels that I pay attention to and I watch most of their content. And if you are enjoying this content in my channel, you might want to check some of them out. We'll have links for all of these in the description below. As always, if you're enjoying, please like, subscribe, smash the bell, tell a friend about the channel and about 100 Days of AI. I'm doing 100 days in a row of videos all about AI. Today's 74. I'm Craig Hewitt. Thanks so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.